everybody, and welcome to Coffee with Cartles. For those who don't know me yet, my name is Karen, and I'm the fundraiser at the Cartles Protection Association. And you're watching our fourth episode of Coffee with Cartles, and we are live streaming again from our offices in Epping, and we are very excited for everybody to be joining us again. And as they say, please like and share our page. As you know, we've had to look for more innovative ways of raising funds, and that is how Coffee with Cartles was inspired. We decided to talk about everything equine, and the first four episodes, which this one is our last one, we spoke about the plight of equine welfare in South Africa and the challenges that working horses are facing in Southern Africa. But before we start, if you do have any questions, please put them in the comment blocks on your right. And if I don't forget this time, which I have a few times, we will get to them at the end of the program. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back and relax, and enjoy the next 40 minutes with us. Tonight, we will be talking to Penny James, who is the manager of Ears Donkey Sanctuary in Greyton, and she has been doing that since 2017. And Penny is also no stranger to us, as she has done our Inspectorate Equine Welfare course. And Penny grew up in Bulawayo and has always been around horses and donkeys. When the opportunity came about for her to manage the sanctuary, Penny said it was a gift from heaven. Penny, oh, what a lovely introduction. That's Henry, one of the famous donkeys on your sanctuary. Penny, welcome. We are absolutely thrilled to have you with us this evening to tell us all about the Ears Donkey Sanctuary in Greyton. Penny, please tell us how it basically all started.
Corinne, it became an NPO as a welfare organization in 2015, and prior to that, it wasn't actually a sanctuary as such. It was a small group of people that broke away from animal welfare, which is a wonderful organization in Greyton, and it developed more along the lines of equine support. And 10 years ago, a little donkey was sent to the farm, and Shanna and Joe were on board there, and this little donkey was the first donkey to arrive, and obviously it wasn't a welfare organization then, but things just seemed to escalate from there, and donkeys were sent, or abused animals were removed from owners. And eventually it became a place for donkeys. And I believe at one time, because Joe, it's a working food farm, obviously belonged to Joe's family. And apparently her dad didn't even know. He suddenly said, "Oh, what are all these donkeys doing on his farm?" and and so it's sort of evolved. It evolves slowly.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and today it's just the most wonderful place. I'm so proud to actually be part of this organization.
Oh, Penny, that's awesome. Wonderful. If we had more time, we would talk all about your wonderful and special donkeys that you have at the sanctuary. I think there's about 22.
Yes.
But please tell us about Layla's incredible story, who now thinks she's a Shetland pony and not a donkey anymore.
Oh, yes. Okay, this is a darling little donkey. She was found on the side of the road, obviously having been hit by a car. And apparently this was 2 years before I arrived. And she was picked up and brought back to the sanctuary. And they discovered she was blind slightly loss of vision on one side, very confused, very concussed. And today she still is very sensitive on that one side, especially if you touch that ear, which is it's a little bit floppy, so the nerve isn't quite as strong that side
Strong
as
as
the
it needs
other.
to be.
Yes, and yeah, she actually needed 24/7 care. And Joe had this naughty little Shetland pony, Jelly Tot, who was always up to mischief. And they decided to put him with her just as a companion. And Jelly Tot is absolutely amazing. He adores young creatures, and he's like a father figure to them. Anyway, so Jelly Tot and little Layla became inseparable. And of course, darling Jelly Tot had to teach Layla how to grow up and behave. And so he taught her his manners, which aren't exactly the
The
greatest on the planet.
donkeys.
But yeah, so he taught her, kick this way and kick that way and just keep everybody away from the straw box until we've had our little bit. Then they may come forward. So, and she's always, oh no, she's an absolute darling. At the moment, now she used to be quite frail, but she's so robust and bossy. She's just like a little naughty Shetland.
I was going to say like jelly tots.
Yeah, just like Greyton.
Yeah, it's absolutely adorable, and how she sort of come from being knocked over to living a life of absolute happiness on the farm with her
Yes,
best friend.
yes. Well, look, little Jelly Tot is our CEO. In fact, that's his title because he's in charge of the
Yes.
donkey camp down there, and he just made Layla his second in command, and she's like taken up the reins. Actually, she's quite the bossy boots.
Well, they
But
make a wonderful team.
oh, they do, and not so long ago, we had a buck. Oh, this was actually not such a wonderful story, but anyway, a buck came into the paddock, and these two little monkeys, they're also quite territorial, and Jelly Tot
Yeah.
as well doesn't allow anyone to share his grass or whatever. And this buck coming into his paddock, oh my gosh! And Layla and he chased it around the jolly paddock, trying to get rid of it. And yeah, I'm screaming, Jelly Tot! But anyway, they chased this poor little thing into the fence, and she rolled over between Layla's legs, luckily
Oh my
jumped up
goodness.
and ran through the reed bed and luckily out of the paddock. So I thought, oh my gosh, those two monkeys.
Never a dull moment.
Never a dull moment, no.
Penny, every time I look at the photos of David and Goliath, it just brings absolute tears to my eyes.
Oh.
Please tell us about this incredible story and how you've spent so much time with these two precious souls.
Corin, it is quite a story actually. They landed up in Bosman's Kloof, which is outside of Greyton, or just outside the village, in fact. And we didn't even know of their presence. And animal welfare actually was sent reports or phoned reports about these donkeys being beaten, and they had no hair on their back ends. And the I think the day afterwards, I was with a vet because we were going to go and treat a horse for colic in Bosman's Kloof,
In the area.
and yes, and animal welfare were just coming along, and they stopped us and said, "You have to go and take these donkeys. They're in such a bad way." And Anne Andrews, who's in charge of animal welfare, had actually got them out of the cart, and they were in their so-called owner's paddock. Anyway, when the vet and I had finished with this other horse, we went straight up there, and the owner, who we thought was the owner, but wasn't. These donkeys were actually lent to him by a guy in Genadendal to
Okay.
carry sand. And there was a bit of a hoo-ha, but luckily the vet was there, and he said, "These two donkeys cannot stay here. There's no food, and they've got this skin condition has to be treated." And so I alerted Jo and said she has to come and or get ready to come and pick up these two donkeys.
Hmm.
And we went back again in the afternoon and picked them up. But yes, that skin condition was absolutely shocking to treat. It was so
The rain,
sensitive.
it's rain scold.
Yes, yes.
Hmm.
And they had to go on antibiotics. It was that bad. And yeah, and this little David was more emaciated than little Goliath, but yeah, both in shocking condition, really. and
It
being
looks
made to work
absolutely
like that.
painful.
Very, very painful. So sensitive. You know, even just washing with the with a chlorhexidine, and it makes quite a nice soapy thingy. Is still so sore for them. And we actually had to there's Shannon there. He's actually really good with them.
Yes. And they're there today, much happier,
Oh
bellies
yes,
full, being absolutely
absolutely.
pampered and taken care of, which they
Yeah,
should
yeah,
be
yes,
doing.
yes.
Awesome job, Penny. Wow. And then there's the story of Midnight. This also is a very, very sad story.
Yes, that's a bit of a hot. Ugh. This beautiful horse was actually found by a cyclist because this the area that the horse was in was quite remote and is accessed by a cycle what they call the blue cycle route. So there's a lot of cycle trails around there. And he was on holiday or just spending the weekend in Greyton, and he came across this horse, and he actually didn't know who to call. So I think he knew Marisha, who was the community vet at one time in Greyton, and she was in Neisner or something like that. So he
Mm.
phoned Neisner, and then Marisha phoned her mother, who lives in Greyton, and then she
Oh,
phoned
wonderful.
animal welfare, and they said no, they can't actually help him. And then she said, "Oh," then I suddenly remembered Penny. So then she phoned me. So it was also a big thing because I wouldn't know one cycle track from another. And
Mm.
luckily Michelle, one of our wonderful volunteers, said she knows exactly where that place is because the guy described it as there was a dam and two derelict houses there. Anyway, so
Because the
she
areas
and
the
I,
areas that these horses roam are so wide and so big. It's
yes,
one minute they're
yes,
there. It was a real challenge to find her.
absolutely. But look, the thing is, you can see there how injured that hind leg is. She
Yes.
wasn't moving. She wasn't moving anyway. That leg was dangling from like the stifle area. Um, but what a beautiful face, and it was such a tragedy to see her in that condition because she'd obviously been like this for
A
not a
long
few
time.
days, a few weeks, a long time actually.
Mm.
And anyway, Michelle and I walked there. We saw her, and because she hadn't been handled, we couldn't just catch her. We just went up. I got my hand close enough to her face just um, to touch, but we knew really that we couldn't do anything, and we walked back again. It's like a 2-hour walk, and we tried to find out where this place is. Is it this farmer or whoever? And Joe was still the next morning trying to discover how we could get access because all these gates were closed. And as we were walking along, every gate was locked.
Lot.
And anyway, so got a long story short, we found it belonged the property or the land there belongs to a phenomenal farming consortium, and they obviously had keys to the gates. And the next morning, oh, actually not the next morning, we had to actually organize euthanasia by Panthera. I don't know if you're aware of Panthera. It's
Yes.
a yes, cat sanctuary, and they have the most wonderful team of um, of hunters, actually, I suppose, or people that really know how to use a high-powered rifle, and they
And
came
do a
with
proper
us on
job.
the Tuesday. Yes, and I mean we drove like for quite some time to actually get to access to where she was, and yeah, it was it was good, but it was really heartbreaking. So
Absolutely. I
you
mean,
can
and you
see
said
in
that
the
yeah, these hunters were very empathetic, very
oh,
did it
very
the right
yes,
way. They were also very
yes,
heartbroken, but something that needed to be
yes,
done to put her out of her suffering.
yes. Yes, and you know that the thing is that it was so quick and so clean. That's what I like
Yes.
about a rifle. And they've actually come to our farm twice to euthanize animals that we've brought to be euthanized. And they are brilliant. You know that they let the animal graze, and they just um, pull the trigger, and the animal knows nothing. So you know we actually do recommend them in cases like that, because we
No,
would
it's
never have
wonderful.
been able to get a vet to
No,
actually euthanize her anyway. No.
no, she would have been terrified, and it would have been
Yes.
stressful,
Yes.
and
We wouldn't have caught
uh,
her properly, you know. She would have been running around on three legs trying to catch it to do the
mm,
deed.
well,
But yeah,
wonderful. It's a very sad but very real story,
necessary.
and
Yes,
necessary,
yes,
and like I
and you know,
said,
yes, and we did thank the cyclists and actually everybody who was involved in actually getting us aware of this poor horse's plight.
of
So
midnight.
yeah, yes,
Well,
yes,
thank
and
goodness
what a
that
beautiful
cyclist was there that day.
mm.
Um, Penny, then the next thing is to please elaborate on the plight of foals in the Greyton area and the story of Little Hope.
Okay, little. Oh, yeah, she is the gorgeous little girl. Yes, little Hope and her mother Roxy from Genadendal. They were actually put in a paddock and chased by two dogs. And as you can see, poor little Hope's legs were um actually ripped to pieces.
Mold.
Yes, mauled is the word. Yes, and so they called me and we did treatment, but I realized that, you know, she needs intensive treatment. You can't just go once a day to Canardendal and hose and do whatever you're supposed to do. She needs proper looking after. So I told the owner, and he was really grateful that we were going to bring her back to the sanctuary. And at that time, she didn't have a name, and you know, he was really worried about her. He didn't even think she was going to survive. And he said he's going to call her Hope. So that was very sweet. And she stayed with us only because we didn't want to send them back. She stayed with us like for 8 months. But
8 months.
oh, she was quite well by then, running around quite happily. Um, but yeah, the treatment was quite intensive and long term. You know, the bite wounds are so infective,
Mm.
and you know they're not easy to treat. And in fact, that big one on the off hind there was nasty. It kept sloughing off. You know, the skin kept becoming a bit necrotic and dropping off because of the infection. And she was on antibiotics. But what a darling little thing. I mean, was like we were watching this little baby grow up to be such a confident little creature. From this tiny little thing to being confident and running around, and oh, it was gorgeous.
Sure. After everything she's been through, I mean, it must have been also very traumatic for her to be attacked like that. But like you said, this is not a rare occasion, and it does happen.
It's
Um,
not a rare occasion.
no,
We actually had
it,
another one about 2 months ago. Same story. Pit bull. Not the wound's not as bad, but still needing intensive treatment.
mm. And
Um,
like you said, it takes
and
a
the-
long time to actually heal.
yes, yes, and yeah, and another one, a dog actually chasing it broke at the leg. You know, and that poor little thing had to be euthanized.
Oh
Um,
goodness.
yeah, so dogs are a real problem. Dogs and foals. Um, foals on the road, you know, because babies are silly. They don't know what's happening, and
And there's no
um,
fences.
yeah, there's no fencing. So they're on the road. Their mother's grazing on the side, but you know, foals are a little bit silly. So I know of three that have actually been hit by cars and had to be euthanized.
Oh.
Um, yeah, it is a serious problem.
Hmm. Penny, it is also very heartwarming when communities come together for equines in need. Please talk us through the next few slides that we have for you. There's a lot of
Uh,
horses.
there's a lot of horses, but this is an equine outreach by Sharon Orpen. So it was arranged on the farm, and so all the I think she's got quite a network, and she sets the date, and everybody knows about it, from Bosman's Kloof to Berea, and they
Areas.
bring their horses. And there's a dentist, there's a farrier, there's a worm station, a deworming station, a dipping station, a vet. Everyone gets their temperatures taken. Um, what else? What else? Oh, and microchipping. I know as well. I think that's a separate one though. Is the African horse sickness vaccine.
But
Yeah,
all these horses, you created a really nice database of all the horses in the area because there's
yes.
quite a lot in the area.
Well, there are 400 microchipped horses in the area, and not all of them have obviously been microchipped. So there are a lot of horses in this area. But yeah, it is quite heartwarming when they bring their horses for their treatments, etc.
Well, you can see that they're very. It's a very successful clinic because
Yes,
everybody, like you said, there's an opportunity for the horse to see a farrier, a vet,
yes,
a doctor, get their teeth seen. So it's amazing that
yes,
they come out in droves and want actually the best
yes, for their animals.
for their horses, which is wonderful
Yes,
to see. Also the relationship that you have with the people in the community.
yes, definitely. But as I say, Sharon Orpin does a lot of she does all the organizing of the people, like the dentist and the farrier, etc. EARS provides the location, and now it's not done on the farm; it's done on the rugby field at Genadendal, but still EARS organizes the water truck and the this and the that.
Wonderful. And then I thought I'd put these two in because it's absolutely adorable seeing teachers bringing the young kids in the community to find out more about donkeys and and what they do and
Yeah,
to understand that they are also sentient beings and they need to be loved and cared for.
absolutely, and it's lovely dealing with little ones as well. And they all got a chance to sit on poor old Pedro's back, but this is the Bereaville creche with a delightful bunch of little kiddies. And we went there once and just talking about how to get to to educate people when they're young. They are so responsive. Um,
Yes.
uh, we did the five freedoms, and there was one of the pictures I think I got out of Chris Garrett's um, little booklet on harnessing. But anyway, it was a donkey being hit by somebody with a big stick. And this little girl comes up, she says, "Who's that bad man?" I mean,
Wonderful.
it's just heartwarming that, they know they bad men.
Mm.
So,
And educating
it,
from a young age, that's definitely the way to go.
it is definitely, yes.
Penny, why is gelding so important in the area or yeah, in your area that you work in?
Corinne, the whole area is like an explosion of horses, and every
Mm.
year there's more and more foals, and we have just discussed the vulnerability of foals, and so if we could reduce the numbers, and the only way really and truly is by gelding as many possible stallions. Um, we it sometimes seems like a big drop in the ocean because it doesn't seem to stop the babies. I mean, one stallion can impregnate so many mares. But it's a start. You've got to start somewhere. And so far this year, it's been a bit slow. Or since we started the gelding drive, we've actually done, I think, 47 stallions.
Yes. And as you were saying that mares have yearlings, um,
Yeah,
and that
yeah,
to me is just absolutely shocking. I mean, it's just
Yes, the yearling is still suckling from the mother who's now with foal. So she's feeding for three really. She's feeding herself. She's feeding a coming up yearling. They're not really yearlings at that point, but and feeding an unborn baby. So these poor creatures are constantly under pressure and don't have the nutrition to back all that up.
No, they don't.
So yeah, it's tough. It's tough out there when this sort of thing goes on.
And it's
So we
also
do try and encourage.
indiscriminate breeding, and obviously a lot of people don't want to geld, but you obviously have reached out to those that agree. I mean, their horses will be more
Yeah.
healthy, their temperament would be better, because as we can see in the next picture, stallions can be quite aggressive when they want all the maize in the area.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. That previous picture is Bosman, who's a mule, actually being gelded by Dr. Sarah Viljoen. That was quite a gelding because there's a tough little chappy, that mule. Anyway, he's the one that's attacked this stallion.
Chocolate.
Your next picture, that's Chocolate. Yes. So he ripped
Mm,
that skin off that poor boy's neck, and he did that twice. The first time it healed, and it was like a little bit of a bump. Then he grabbed hold of that little lump of skin and ripped it again. I mean,
never
this
let
poor
go.
Chocolate, honest, never let go. No,
Yeah,
but yeah, Chocolate's always in the wars, I'm afraid, and he needs to
shame.
be gelded.
Yes, he does too. Penny, what are your plans and visions for for the next year?
um, you know, farrier work is actually quite important in this area, and there are some really good farriers. But we also do see a lot of problem feet. So what I'd like to do is try and arrange with local farriers, and they, by the way, have been trained by cartels, of course. Um,
Of course.
I'd like to get them together and just have like a farrier day and actually select the horses that can come, because we do see these feet, and it's very difficult to say, oh, your feet need doing, and but you've got to back it up. So if
Of
we could
course you do.
select those horses that are problems, and come into a little environment where they're going to get a little bit of education on how to treat their horses feet, because no foot, no horse.
No horse.
um things might improve there. So that's just one my seriously minor thing, but um, uh, just little clinics like that, because since COVID, we have to be quite careful about numbers. So
Mm,
it would be selective, and then word will go out. Okay, can we have that? Or
absolutely. I can see the
and maybe
benefits.
maybe snowball a little bit. Yes.
Mm, wonderful.
Uh, yeah, I did actually have some other things, but I've gone a bit blank now. Sorry.
No, no worries. And Penny, lastly, how can people support you and your wonderful cause for the donkeys in Greyton? How can they help? What do you
Oh,
need as an organization?
well, money. We've got a wonderful shop in Greyton.
Yes, you do.
It's yes, sells secondhand goods, and a wonderful shop lady, Sherry Cullen, and that is our mainstay actually. And so it's unwanted goods that you can donate to the shop, and also our treasurer is excellent at putting the higher class type product out there on I don't know how he does it, but it's on one of those pages that people go and look at for buying
Probably
stuff.
your Facebook
And
page and your social
possibly,
media.
possibly yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's things like that. We've got a Dr. Donkey program, which is initiated by Tony Younghusband, who is the most wonderful media and publicity person on the planet. And she's so put us on the map. Anyway, so that's brought in a lot of people that adopt donkeys. You know, they don't have to take them home. We look after them, but it's their special donkey. And
And you sent photographs and information
yes,
about the
yes,
donkeys?
yes. They'll get a newsletter, photograph, a little certificate with the donkey's picture in the corner, and oh, it's so beautifully done.
It is.
She's
I know
wonderful.
quite a few people that have adopted a donkey, and it's although you want to have your own, but you basically you can see and you can go and visit and you can go and
Yes,
hug and kissy
yes,
and
yes,
basically think that it is your own
yes,
and and living the best life with you at the
yes.
sanctuary
And their friends, yes.
and their friends.
I see, yeah, I see that's Ruth and Anna standing on the hill there. And that little donkey Anna is named after Anna Marie van Zyl from Elsie's Rus. Another wonderful, wonderful lady. And I
She
think
is.
she's a big mentor of us. I know Joe used her such a lot when they first started the sanctuary.
Mm. She's with us this evening. She's watching.
Oh, is she? Oh, okay. Hello, Anna
Yes.
Marie.
Yeah. So, wow, that's amazing. I mean, I saw that picture. I just thought it just sort of the setting with Greyton and the donkeys.
Yes.
I'm definitely going to come visit it soon and yeah, get to hear Henry welcome me with these wonderful ways and looking very very forward to it.
That'll be
Well, thank you
wonderful,
so very
Karen.
much. I mean, that was wonderful sharing what you guys do. It's an incredible organization. What you do for the donkeys in the area is great. If anybody wants more information about what EARS does, they do have a Facebook page, and Penny's email address is also up on the screen. So please do email her if you want to adopt a donkey or if you have any old clothes or furniture or anything that you want to donate to their shop that they could sell for funds. That would be absolutely great. Thank you once again, Penny. We really, really appreciate it. Your
I have
time.
to thank you. I have to thank you, Karen, and everybody at Cartos. Thank you so much.
It was lovely having you. Thank you, Penny.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Everybody, Coffee with Cartles is actually gaining great momentum. And if you wish to sponsor us or an episode, please contact me, Karen at cartles.org.za. And please look out for more exciting episodes that we will be having. We've come to an end of our equine welfare programs, but we will be doing more interesting and exciting talks about everything equine. Everybody, we currently have a gelding drive. We want to geld 30 horses, and as you heard Penny, it's very, very important to geld horses because they breed indiscriminately, and you have mothers, with their sons or their sons with their daughters' cousins, and it's just not a good thing. And they also, and we've only been able to collect 3,500 rand so far. So we are only able to geld 1.5 horses, which is not really ideal. So please, if you can contribute to our gelding drive. It's 2,500 rand, which is a discounted rate that we are getting for each horse, and we need to do 30 of those. So you can also contact me for details of how to do that. Karen at cartles.org.za, and we really, really appreciate your support. So please look out for more informative and exciting episodes. Thank you for joining us this evening. And I've done it again. We don't have any questions. But we don't have any questions this evening. But if you do have any questions, you've got Penny's email address, or you can email me as well. But thanks once again for joining us. Keep safe, and until next time, goodbye.